everyone, it's Hannah from Hand Done Crochet, and today we are making the Twinkling Trees adult size sweater together. Now I have an example here to show you. This is one of the child sizes that I have made for my older child, but it's almost the same size as the smallest adult one, so I thought I'd show you what it looks like here first. And today I'm going to be making the size small on camera with you, but that doesn't matter. You can make absolutely any size from the pattern once you know how to do the principles in the size that I'm making with you. So don't worry if you need to make a different size than me. Now the information for where to find that written pattern is in the description below, along with all the details of the materials that you'll need, but we'll go through that together as well. And what you need to know about this sweater is that it's so much easier than it looks. It's a top-down construction, meaning that we make the yoke of the sweater, which is this circular part here. We do that first. We work from the top down. We add the neckband on at the end. It's an optional neckband intentionally so that you can do it as you would like it to be. We work from the top down here, working in this overlay mosaic crochet technique, which only uses beginner stitches and is super easy once you know how to do it. Then once you have the yoke at the size we need it to be, we split for the sleeves, which is where we put a portion of them for the body stitches that we need here, and then we leave two portions for the sleeves that we add afterwards. We work all the way down the sweater, working the body in just simple single crochet stitches, and we can add a bottom rib at the bottom if you would like to. And then once that's all done, we can add the sleeves to whichever length and style that you would like, and then pop that neckband on if you would like to add that too. So it's a super simple construction that's very, very adaptable. It also has a few little tricks for shaping to get the fit of it to be beautiful on you, and you can adjust that as you go, and we'll talk about that as we make it. So let's go through the materials you're going to need, and then you can grab the pattern and we can get making. To make the sweater today, I am using Premier Yarn's Everyday DK. This is a lovely 100% acrylic yarn, and I'm going to be using the colour linen with charcoal. But as you will see in lots of the images, in the child versions, I use some really colourful yarns, and I'll add the information in the description below about those, should you wish to make a more colourful version. Along with your yarn, you're going to need a 4.5mm crochet hook, or the hook that matches the gauge for you, and then a hook 1mm down from that. So for me, that's a 3.5mm crochet hook, and that's to use for our ribbings. Then we need a pair of scissors, a needle for your ends, and a stitch marker or two would be really, really helpful. So go grab all of your supplies and make sure you get the pattern, look in the schematic and work out which size it is that you would like to make, and then come back to me and we'll get going. So whichever size of sweater you're making, they all start in the same way. We're going to put a slip knot on the hook, and then we're going to work a number of foundation single crochet stitches. And for the size I'm making, I need to do 100 of those. So just check for the size you're making to see what you need to do. And to begin them, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2. And then in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to pop into the back bump of that chain. I'm going to insert my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through. Then what I need to do is I'm going to yarn over and pull through just 1, because that will now make a chain for us that we can work into for the next stitch. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. And that is our first foundation single crochet made. Now for our second stitch, we need to work into that chain that we made. So I'm going to pop my hook in, making sure that both loops of that chain are under the hook. No, the hook needs to go under them, Hannah. But make sure your hook's under those 2 loops. Then we yarn over and pull through. We yarn over and pull through 1 to make our next chain that we're going to need. And then we yarn over and we pull through 2. And so that's 2 stitches made. And we just repeat that until we have the number of stitches we need. So there we are, insert into that chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 3. So just carry on until you have the number that you need, and then come back to me and we will turn it into a circle and start working our yoke. Once you've got the number of foundation single crochets that you need for your size, we are going to turn this into a ring to form the neckline. So you're going to make sure that you don't twist anything. You're going to run your hand, I promise I am doing that off camera there, run your hand along all of your stitches so they lay flat, and then into the back loop of that first stitch we are going to join with a slip stitch. And at the moment we're just carrying on with yarn A. We're going to slip stitch into there, into that back loop only. And then we're going to chain one, and for round 2 we're just going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of our stitches. Now if you've not worked into back loops before, all we need to do is turn our stitch onto its end so that we can see the front loop here and the back loop here. So it's the loop furthest away, and we just work a single crochet in each of those. This round gets us set up really nicely and used to working these single crochets in the back loop only, because from now on all of our single crochets throughout the whole pattern are worked into that back loop only. And that will be important in a moment because we're going to have a look at the charts and see where it tells us to do these single crochets and where we need to work a mosaic double crochet. So for the moment, just work around here, working a single crochet in the back loop only. And then when you get to the end of this round, have yarn B ready, because we are going to switch to yarn B and work round 3 in yarn B. Now I've got to the end of round 2 and I'm going to slip stitch in the back loop only of that first stitch, but I'm going to change to my yarn B as I do it, because I know that from the written pattern and from the chart that round 3 is worked in yarn B. So I slip stitch there, pull tightly on yarn A, and then chain 1 to get ourselves ready for round 3. Now before we do that, if you're working from the written pattern, then you can absolutely just carry on as you are. But if you would like to work from the charts, and you'll see in the PDF all of the different sizes have the same chart to a certain point, and then it changes and you have more rounds for different sizes. So navigate to your chart and then I'll go through a little section of it with you now. Okay, so this is a small section of the mosaic chart, and I'm just going to use it to teach you how to read the chart and then how to continue working this yoke and making it bigger. So we have the colour of the round going up the side here, so A's and B's, and we've just worked rounds 1 and 2 and they were in A, and we're going to work round 3 and we are going to do that in colour B. And so we've got the round number going up here, so we've got 1 and 2 that we've done, and now we're ready to work round 3 in B. And then what you'll see across the bottom are the stitch numbers for the repeat. And so these grey stitches here, they don't yet exist. We don't need them for the repeats of this part, but as the yoke continues to grow, we will need them. So at the moment, we just have a 4-stitch repeat. So we have 100 stitches for the one that I'm making, but within that 100, we have a repeat of 4 stitches as we go around. So when we read a mosaic crochet chart, we need to know the colour that we're using, the round number that we're doing, and then whereabouts we work our mosaic double crochet stitches. And the only time you ever work a mosaic double crochet stitch is when you see an X in the box. And then we can see that that's going to be on our round that we're going to do now. We're going to be doing mosaic double crochet stitches. Any other stitch in mosaic crochet here is going to be a single crochet in the back loop only, regardless of the colour that you see. An empty box here means a single crochet in the back loop only. So for an example, on round 3, we've got an empty box here, so we know that's a single crochet in the back loop only. Then we have a mosaic double crochet, and then we have 1, 2 single crochets in the back loop only, because our grey boxes we ignore at the moment. And then if you're anything like me, you'll be looking ahead and saying, well, what does that 2x mean, Hannah? So I'll tell you now. That is where we are going to increase. So on round 6 is going to be our first increase, and it just means that we're going to work 2 mosaic double crochets in that same stitch, and that allows us to then increase so our stitch repeat becomes bigger for the next round. But we'll go through all of that when we get to that point, don't worry. At the moment we're just working out where our mosaic crochet stitches go for round 3. So we have a single crochet, mosaic double crochet, and then single crochet in 2. So let's have a look what that looks like. So I've done my chain 1, ready to start, and we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of that first stitch. Then we have to work our mosaic double crochet, and now mosaic double crochet will always work into the front loop of the stitch 2 rounds below. So this is why we're working in the back loop, so that we can leave those front loops open should we need to put a mosaic double crochet in them. So we work in the same way as you would work a regular double crochet. We yarn over and go into that front loop 2 rounds below, and then we're going to work just a regular double crochet stitch. So that's our first mosaic double crochet. Then we saw that we needed to work a single crochet in the back loop only of 2. And that's all there is to it for the stitch repeat for round 3. We're going to go again. We're going to work a single crochet in the back loop of the next. Then we're going to work a mosaic double crochet in the next. So 2 rounds below, work that double crochet, and then a single crochet in the back loop only of 2. We'll go together once more. We'll go single crochet in the back loop of the next, mosaic double crochet in the front loop of 2 rounds below, and then a single crochet in the next 2. So work your way around this round 3 using that repeat, and then when you get to the end we will be ready to switch back, because let's just check. Hang on, let me finish counting before I lose my place. Let's just check. Yes, round 4 needs to use colour A. So we're going to switch at the end of this round to colour A, and then we'll be ready to work round 4. So here I am, I've finished that round 3, and now I'm going to grab my yarn A, because we're going to slip stitch into the back loop only of that first stitch to join and change our colour. And this is the wonderful thing about this technique. We don't have to break our yarn, we can just carry our yarn through the back, because that will be the back of the or the inside of the sweater, so you don't need to worry. So I've chained 1, and now let's have a look in either the written pattern or the chart, whichever you're using. At round 4 we're in A, and we have blank blank blank, so that means we have a single crochet in 1, 2, 3, and then we have a mosaic double crochet in the next stitch. So that is our repeat for this round. So we work a single crochet in 1, 2 and 3, all in the back loop only. Then we have a mosaic double crochet in the next. So it's not into the one below, it's the one 2 rounds below. So pop that front loop there and then work our mosaic double crochet. And that's us all the way around. We're going to work 1, 2, 3 single crochet in the back loop, then a mosaic double crochet 2 rounds below. Then we have 1, 2, 3, and then a mosaic double crochet 2 rounds below. So work away on this round, and then meet me back and we'll join and we'll do round 5 together. So I've joined yarn B, ready to start round 5, and we have B, and round 5 we have all blank, as in no X's in the boxes, so we know that we have no mosaic double crochet stitches in this round at all. So all of the stitches are just a single crochet in the back loop only of each. So if you go ahead and work this round and then join with your yarn A, ready to start round 6, and I'll show you how we do an increase round for the yoke. So I've worked round 5 and I've slip stitched and changed to yarn A, and so I'm going to chain 1 before that goes anywhere, and let's have a look at the chart now. For round 6 we've got yarn A, and we're going to work 1, 2, 3 single crochet in the back loop only, and then we need to work 2 mosaic double crochet in the next stitch. So let's have a look at that. We're going to work, what did I say, 1, 2 and 3 single crochet in the back loop only. And then in the next stitch, which is the 2 rounds below, which happens to be our mosaic double crochet from before, we're going to work 2 mosaic double crochet in there. So just as you would increase in regular crochet, we work 1 stitch and then 2 stitches, all in that same stitch there. And so that's now increased. So what was 4 stitches is now 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And that now becomes our repeat. We're going to work a single crochet in 1, 2 and 3, and then we work 2 mosaic double crochet in the next stitch. That's 1 and that's 2. So that's our repeats all the way around here. And then when you get to the end of the round, you switch your yarn colour by slip stitching into that first stitch, and then you'll be ready for round 7. So now, dare I say it, you know absolutely everything you need to know to work the entire yoke. So all we need to carry on doing is changing our yarn colour at the end of each round as it tells us to. We then need to work out where our mosaic double crochets are and where our single crochets are. So round 7 is going to be in B, and we're going to work a single crochet because we have a blank space, a mosaic double crochet in the next, and then a single crochet in 1, 2, 3, all being in the back loop only. And as you see, we've notched over 1 because we've got more stitches in our repeat. So we've now got a repeat of 5 stitches compared to our 4 before. So go ahead and work your yoke for the size that you're making up until the point where it says go to the short back rows. Can't remember how I said it in the pattern. Short back rows, back short rows. One of those versions, one of those versions will be written in the pattern. And when you get to that point, whatever it says in the pattern, come back to me and we will work those rows together, which will add a lovely bit of shaping to the back of your sweater so that it sits much more nicely around your neckline. Now I'm on my very last stitch of my yoke in yarn B, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch in the back loop of that first stitch just as we have been doing all the way around and join my yarn A, and you will see that I have already broken my yarn B because we have finished now using our yarn B here. And what we're going to do now is chain 1, and now we're at the part of the pattern where it says short back rows. Now if you've not worked short back rows before, please don't worry about them. That's really simple, especially in this sweater, because they're just single crochet stitches. And what we're going to do is we're going to work a portion of the sweater now, of this yoke, to create a little extra piece of fabric basically. And that piece of fabric, when we turn it into the actual sweater, will tip the front of your sweater just down slightly, so it's not up tight against your neck. It will tip it down so that we can have a better fit for your neckline and for your body actually as well. So in the written pattern, you will find instructions of how you can adapt this if you would like to, because the other thing that we have done here, or I have done here within the design, is to have slightly less stitches at the back of the sweater than at the front of the sweater. Now this is designed to give you a bit more space at the front than you have at the back. Now some of us need that and some of us don't. So in the pattern, there's instructions for how, if you don't want to add that, you don't have to, or if you want to add more, you absolutely can. So for the size I'm making, the size small, in this instance, I'm going to work 10 stitches less at the back than at the front. So what I will do is I have chained 1 and I'm going to work 75 stitches in the back loop only here. So all single crochet, back loop only, just as we have done before. So 75 for the size I'm making, but do check in the pattern for the size that you're making because they will all be different. So when you've done the number of stitches that you need for your size, what we're actually going to do at the end of this is break our yarn, because they are our short rows, and what we want to do is keep the right side facing us again, and for the next short row we're going to rejoin to the back loop only of that very first stitch. So grab your yarn A again, pop a chain 1 in there, and then all we need to do for row 2 is work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of the stitches. So however many you did for the first row, you do a matching number for this second row. Now here we are at the end of row 2, and we're going to do exactly what we did at the end of row 1. Break our yarn, pop that through there and keep your right side facing you, and then start again. Join at that first back loop of that first stitch, for row 3, chain 1, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of these stitches. Now the only difference here with row 3 is that when you get to the end of these stitches that we have, my 75 that I've got here, we don't need to break the yarn. We're going to continue to split for the sleeves. So go ahead and get to the end of this row here. Don't break that yarn, and then we will split for the sleeves together. So now we've done all of our short back rows, we're going to continue and we're going to work around the sweater, creating spaces for the 2 sleeves and adding the front in. And the way that we do that, you'll see in the written pattern, there's one round that describes this. And we have to work an underarm chain for each of the different sizes. Now the size I'm making is 10, but yours will most certainly be different to that. So make sure you check. Then when you've got your chain, it tells us that we need to skip a certain number of these stitches, and that will become the sleeve. Now for my size, I'm skipping 45. So once you've counted the number you need to skip, then in the next stitch, we join and we work a single crochet stitch. And that single crochet in the back loop only, always the back loop only still, that stitch is the first of your front stitches. And for me, I need to work 85 stitches. I said, didn't I, that there's 10 more at the front than there is at the back. But if you've adjusted that, then you need to just check what you've adjusted it to. So that's my first of 85. So I'm going to work across here until I've got my 85. So you do it for the number that you need. Then when you've done those front stitches, the pattern will tell us again to replicate the chain that we did on the other side. So for me, again, I need to do a chain of 10. And then we should have a matching number of stitches here for our second sleeve. So I should have 45 stitches here, and you should have a matching number of the size of sleeve that you had on the other side. And you just need to now slip stitch into that first stitch of the round that we did here. So that final short back row that we did, slip stitch into that first stitch there. And that is us having split for the sleeves. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1 here, and I will pull that out, and I'll probably put a stitch marker in there, because at this point this is where we can turn this puddle of fabric into something that looks like a sweater with some sleeve holes or armholes here. Now what we're going to do is try it on at this point. If you're making it for yourself, or whoever you're making for is available, this is a brilliant point to make sure that you can get the fit as good as you possibly can. So you can try this on and see how it sits. Now you may need to block the yoke if your gauge has gone off slightly from your swatch. Don't worry about it, you can block this now. And the other thing that you can do is, if you need some more space in your armholes, because we're all different proportions, this is the thing, everything that I design has to be to standardized measurements, and none of us are standardized. Some of us fit in that category, but not many. So that's absolutely fine. If you need a bit more space in your sleeve holes, rather than adjusting your stitches for your body or adding any chains here, because that will throw everything out, what you can do is just unpick that last round we did to where you started your chain, break your yarn, and then just work however many more short rows that you would like to add extra stitches to the sleeve hole. Now I know that doesn't sound like really good logic, because you're adding to the back to make more space in the sleeves, but I promise it works. So you can work as many rows as you like, and adding, say, 2 rows will add 2 more stitches per sleeve hole, but it won't add any more stitches to your body. So if your body fits you nicely, but you want more space in your sleeves, then add more short back rows. If you feel like the sleeves are going to be too big, don't worry, go back and take away as many of the short back rows as you like. But just be aware that any short back rows that you add, they won't change it too much, but they will adjust where then the neckline sits, as I described before. So this is the point for you to adjust as you would like it, to try it on, and then once you're ready, we can then start working the body. So this is as simple as pie. And I don't know where that saying comes from, and I don't even know if that's in the right context, but it's very, very simple to do. We've chained one to start to join into that one. And what we're going to do is work a single crochet in each of the back loops of all of our stitches around. But this is the point where, of course, there's no one near me. Let me get one. Hang on. This is the point to grab yourself a stitch marker and join it to the front loop of that first stitch that we have here. Because we are now going to be working in continuous rounds. So at the end of the round, we are not going to slip stitch to join and chain one. You're just going to keep working around and around and around. And if you haven't put a stitch marker in, goodness me, it could all go wrong. So work away, working in the back loop only of all these stitches that we have. And then when you get to your underarm chains, just work one stitch into each of your chains that you have here, and then continue in the back loop only of all of these stitches across the front until we get back round to your stitch marker. So now I've come to the end of that round, and I am going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of the stitches around again for round 2, and I normally do 3 stitches and then try and scrabble my stitch marker from the side there and put the stitch marker in that first stitch. It's just so I don't lose my space. Then we just continue working a single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch in continuous rounds until either it reaches the length that you would like it to be, or it reaches the length you would like it to be before you add the bottom rib, which is an optional extra, or you can follow the number of rounds that I have made as suggestions for standardized lengths in the pattern. So however you want to do it, go ahead and work your main body, and then if you're going to add a bottom rib, come back to me and I will just show you how we do that. Now I know the last thing I said was come back to me when you're ready to add a bottom rib, but what I am going to show you right now is the neckband, which is exactly the same as the bottom rib and indeed the sleeve cuffs. So we work in a join as you go method. If you're doing the bottom rib, you're going to have carried on doing this and you'll still have yarn A attached. So when you're going to add your bottom rib there, you don't need to break your yarn or anything, you just carry on from the last round that you work. And similarly with the sleeves, when you've added those, if you want to add the sleeve cuff, you can then just go straight ahead and use the yarn that you're working with. But for the neckband, we just need to join in order to work this. Now, of course, all of these bands and ribs, they're all optional. So if you don't want to add them, don't worry about it. You can skip this part. But if you do, what we need to do is for the neckband is join to our first stitch that we have here, and this will be there is a join for all of the bands, and this is the best place to add it. It's not terribly noticeable, but just pop it in here and then it will be the least noticeable of all the stitches. We are going to join to this first stitch that we have here, and we are going to pull our yarn through, and then my suggested length for this is to chain 5, but you can do as many or as few as you like for this. So that's 5 there, and for the bottom band and for the sleeve cuffs I've suggested different numbers within the pattern, but again you can do as many or as few as you would like to. Then once you've got the number that you would like, we're going to start working in the second. Oh, I should have said, I've gone down to my smaller hook. That's really, really, really important. Make sure you move down to your smaller hook. Once you've done your chain in your smaller hook, you're going to start working into the second chain from the hook, into that back bump. We're going to work a single crochet. So all single crochet still, nice and simple. And each of the back bumps along. So I did 5 chains, so working from the second chain from the hook, and each is going to give me 4 stitches, 3, and then that's 4. And then when you get to the end there, what we're going to do the first time we arrive back is we're going to slip stitch into just one of the stitches. So the next stitch along of our neckband or the bottom of the sweater or your sleeve, you're going to slip stitch into the next one. Then we're going to turn and working into the back loop only. There's not much to hold there. The back loop only of each of these stitches, we're going to work a single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then the last stitch you can either work into the back loop only or the full part of the stitch. It's completely up to you. I like to work into the full part of the stitch, and it stops your ribbing just overstretching. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn and chain 1. Now I'm going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of them. There's 1, 2, 3, and that's 4. And now each time we arrive back here at our last round, whichever it may be, the bottom of the sweater, the neckline, or the sleeve, you're going to work a slip stitch, in the next 2 stitches. So we'll join, there's 1, and then there's 2. Then we turn, and then you're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of those 4 stitches, or however many stitches that you have. And essentially that's it. We're just going to carry on repeating rows 2 and 3, turning here, chaining 1, and working single crochet in the back loop only of each. And then when you get back to your round that you're joining it to, we are going to slip stitch in 2, or I would definitely recommend doing that for the bottom of the sweater to keep it nice and straight. Or if you would like to cinch in your sleeve cuffs or your neckband a little bit more, what you can do is you can either slip stitch into 3, and that will tighten it down, and then you can then work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of these. Or what I sometimes like to do is, let's go back, I haven't slip stitched, pretend I haven't slip stitched at all there. What you can do is slip stitch in the next one, skip the next one, and then slip stitch in the next, and that helps to create just slightly less bulk with those slip stitches there. And then you do the same as you did before, you turn and you work a single crochet in the back loop only. Now, as I say, I would only do that on the neckline or the sleeve cuff. And if you're doing it for the sleeve cuffs, you just need to make a note of what you do so you can replicate it on the other one. But that will be, again, your neckline, your cuffs, all of that kind of stuff. You can just trial and error to see what works and fits perfectly for you. But just slip stitching into will make a lovely, lovely straight sleeve, straight neckline, and a straight bottom rib. So work away all the way around, whichever you're doing, the neckline or the cuff, and then come back to me and I'll show you how we join it together at the end. So once you've worked all the way around the neckband or the bottom of the sweater or your sleeve, we are ready to join the last row that you've just done to the first row. So I've slip stitched into 2 there, and now I'm turning it so I've got the wrong side facing me, and what I'm going to do is join with a slip stitch seam. So I'm going to take the first stitch of that last row and I'm going to join it to the first stitch of the first row, and we just do a slip stitch there to join them together, and then we do the same for the second stitch, she says. There we go, the third one and the fourth, and however many that you have, just join them matching stitches for stitches until we are just all seamed up together there. And then when you've done that, you can break your yarn and weave in your ends. Now, before I go ahead and finish the body of the sweater, I want to go ahead and show you how to add your sleeves if you would like to, because they're done in a really similar way to the body. So you're going to need to grab a stitch marker and your larger hook. So we're going to join to our first chain of the underarm that we have here. And I'm going to grab my yarn A that I'm using, and as I say, the larger hook, and we're going to join here, chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet in each of these chains that we have here. So for my size, that was 10. And then when we come to these short rows, these short back rows, we are going to work a single crochet into the side of each of them. So we did 3 for this size. So I'm doing 1, and then 2, and then 3. Then when you've done those, we're now going to work in the back loops only of each of these stitches around here. So around the sleeve armhole here. And so then, just as we did for the body, we are going to carry on working in continuous rounds. So I've gone into the back loop only of that first stitch, and then I'll do a couple more and then grab my stitch marker, and that goes into that first stitch that we've done there. And now all we need to do for the remainder of the arm, and again the numbers of rounds are suggested in the pattern for standardized sleeve lengths, but you can work as many rounds or as few as you like here until you're ready to put the sleeve cuff on or just finish without a sleeve cuff. And the sleeve cuff works in exactly the same way as we have just worked the neckband, and the same way that the bottom band works. We drop down to the smaller crochet hook, and then we work that join as you go single crochet in the back loop only to make it as big or as small as you would like. So that is how, when you get to them, you work your sleeves. So now you're ready to go ahead, work your body, work your sleeves, add those bottom bands and add those sleeve cuffs.